Hi and welcome to Clappia. In this video, you will see how to make an inspection checklist app. If you maintain checklists to carry out inspections at your organization and want to move away from paper-based checklists or other manual processes of completing inspections, then Clappia can help you in making it simple. Once you create your inspection checklist app, you can also use it in the offline mode if you wish. So let's start making the app. Once you log into Clappia, click on New App in your dashboard. The Design app is where we will create the structure of the inspection checklist. First, give a name to the app over here. It could be inspection checklist or maybe site inspection, floor inspection. Right now, I will just name it as inspections. Then click on Add section, and in this first section you can capture basic site details of the inspection like date, time of inspection, the site location. So we will give a name to this section accordingly on the right hand panel over here under section name. I will name it as site since I will be capturing site details. Click on Save, then click on Add field, and you can see the various pre-coded blocks available that you can use to capture information in your app. You can mix and match these according to your preferences. If you wish to know how each of these blocks work, you can check out our other videos on them. So for this particular section, I would like to first capture the inspector's name. Now you can simply use a single line text block so that the inspector can manually input his name. But if you would like the system to automatically capture the name, then you can use the calculations and logic block for this. On the right hand panel, I will change the label to inspector name. And under formula, I will type in @submitter name. By calling out this preset variable, the system will automatically capture the name of the inspector when he logs into Clappia and opens the app. I'll click on Save. Now I'll click on Add field to add the date and time of inspection. So first I will select the date selector block. Under label, I will change it to date of inspection. And in the advanced option, if I want the system to automatically capture the date, I will enable the first option that says default to current date. And if I do not want the user to make any changes to the date, I can disable these options. Similarly, I will select the time selector block, change the label to time of inspection. Go to the advanced option. Again, I will select default to current time and disable allow time to be changed by user. Now, if you want to have an option where the user selects the site location in which he is carrying out the inspection, you can use the drop-down block, single selector or multi-selector, depending on your requirement. I will use the drop-down block and change the label to site. Then under options, I will list the various site locations in which the user can select from. If you would like to add additional fields for capturing location, for example, if you wish to know the exact location from where the user is submitting the information from, you can use the GPS location block for this. On the right hand panel under advanced option, you can see it says default to current location, and if you do not want the user to manually change the location, you can keep this as disabled. So this is very useful for capturing the precise location upon the time of submission. Now if certain site locations or certain buildings have QR codes to them upon entry, and you would like the inspector to scan those QR codes and capture that information, you can use the code scanner block to scan those QR codes or even barcodes. Now the first section is completed, capturing basic details. Now we shall add the checklist. So in this same app, I will simply click on Add section. In this second section, I will be adding the checklist. So I will name it accordingly. For example, if the checklist deals with electrical safety, then I will name it as so on the right hand panel over here under section name. Now if the checklist is in a yes or no format, I will click on Add field, and then you can use the single selector block for this. To add the first checklist question, I will simply put it under label. Then under options, I will list it as yes and no, keeping in mind that the options are listed one after the other and there are no spaces after each option. Now I'll click on save. Now the first checklist question has been added. If you would like the inspector to add additional remarks to the question, then you can use the multi-line text block for that. I will change the label to remarks. Similarly, for any corresponding question, if you need to attach any images or some file attachment, then you can use the camera image and files block. I will change the label to upload image. Under the advanced option, if you wish the inspector to only upload live images and not browse through their gallery, then under allowed file types, you can select images through camera uploads. Again, this is dependent upon your requirement. You can also set the number of images that they can attach in the app. So for each question, I would like only one image to be uploaded. Now I'll save this. So in this way, you can keep adding multiple fields of the same blocks to complete your checklist. I will go ahead and add 2 more questions to complete this checklist, along with the remarks and for uploading image. I have now added the 2 questions to this checklist along with the remarks and a field for uploading image. I have added only 3 questions to complete the checklist for the sake of example. Once the inspector fills in all the details and you would like another section for verification, such as capturing their signature, then you can click on Add Section again and name it as Verification over here. Now I'll click on Add Field and then select the signature block. I'll change the label to Signature of Inspector. If you would like to capture the inspector's overall ratings of the place or the overall ratings of the inspection that they have carried out, then you can use the ratings block. Under label, I will change it to ratings by inspector. You can give the corresponding values to the emoji and also alter the size. You can also disable the not applicable option if you wish to and then click on save. You can also add fields for additional remarks or any additional files that they may need to add. So I'll use a multi-line text block for capturing additional remarks and then another camera image and files for uploading additional files. Now the basic structure of the checklist app is complete. So let's see how this looks like. I'll go to App Home where the app is live and ready to use. You can see the name has been automatically captured by the system along with the date and time. You can also see the GPS location has been captured. Now as I scroll down, you can see the other 2 sections that we have created. Electrical safety, which is the checklist, you can see over here, and then verification. Now as you can see, the questions are not aligned properly. To fix this, go to the Design app, click on the first question, go to the Advanced option, and you can change the width of the block. So if I change it to 100%, click on Save, you can see the format is now changed. So I can do this for all of them. Now when I go back to App Home and I click on Electrical Safety, it is now more cohesive. Now if you would like to add multiple checklists in your app, then you can keep adding more sections to this. So I'll go to the Design app and I will keep all the checklists together. So after electrical safety and just before verification section, I will click on Add Section. For example, if my second checklist were to be about hazard, then I will name it as so over here. And again follow the same format as we did for electrical safety. So I'll click on Add Field, click on Single Selector. Under Label, I will give in the question with the corresponding options. I'll use the multi-line text block for the remarks, and then camera image and files for uploading images, if any. Again for the question, under the advanced option, you can change the block width. Now I'll go ahead and give in some more questions to fill in the checklist. Since remarks and upload image remains the same for every question and in every checklist, and you would not like to repeat the same type of configurations over and over again, then you can simply click on one of the fields and then click on copy. Once you have copied the field, you can see it appears over here right after the field that was copied. Then you can simply drag and drop it to where it needs to be placed. The same configurations will be applied over here. So using the option copy will help you in saving time. I have now completed the second checklist, which is for hazard. So in this way you can add multiple checklists to a single app. We'll go to App Home, scroll down. You can see the 2 checklists have been added. So the inspector can simply click on a particular checklist and fill in all the details. But this might get a little lengthy if there are multiple checklists to capture responses. So in that case, you can have display conditions for every checklist. So let's see how to do that. I will go back to Design app. Now in the Site section, I will click on Add Field and then click on Single Selector. On the right hand panel, I will change the label to Select Inspection Type. Now under Options, you can list the different checklists that you have added to your app. So since I have electrical safety and hazard, I will list them here. Now to implement display conditions based on the selection type. So for example, if the inspection type is selected as electrical safety in the app, only electrical safety checklist should appear. Or if inspection type is selected as hazard, then the hazard checklist should appear and not electrical safety. For this, I will first click on the electrical safety section and go to the advanced option. Over here you can see display this section if, and it is similar to spreadsheets. We share a similar library, but in place of cell numbers we have the concept of variable names, which you can find at the top of every field in brackets. I will type in select inspection type equals to electrical safety. This means that if inspection type is selected as electrical safety, then only the electrical safety checklist will be displayed in the app. Click on Save. Similarly, we do this for the hazard checklist. I will first minimize this. Click on Hazard section. Go to the advanced option and under display this section if, type in select inspection type equals to hazard. Click on Save. You should ensure that these words match perfectly with this section and the selector. Now let's go to App Home. Over here you can now see that the checklists are not visible in the app. When I click on Electrical Safety under Select Inspection Type, the electrical safety checklist appears. If I select Hazard, the hazard checklist appears instead. Implementing this type of display conditions in your app helps to keep the app looking clean and avoid confusions. Now let's say in this app you would also like to add some kind of scoring mechanism to the response collected for each question. For example, if it is selected as yes, then the score should be counted as 1. Or if it is selected as no, then the score would be 0. Each question will have the corresponding scores, and then you can calculate the overall score. This is helpful to know which area, that is electrical safety or hazard, needs to be focused on more. For example, if electrical safety scores 90% while hazard is maybe say 70%, then it helps to know where to put more focus on and needs to be looked upon more carefully. So let's see how to implement the scoring mechanism. I'll go back to the Design app and click on the first checklist. Since I will be adding a scoring mechanism for each question, I will click on the plus symbol here right underneath the question and select Calculations and Logic block. On the right hand panel, I will change the label to score. You can change it accordingly. For the formula, as I mentioned, you can implement calculations and logic over here, similar to spreadsheet. And I also mentioned that if the response is selected as yes, then the score should be 1, but if the response is selected as no, then it should be 0. This is just a simple example that I am taking. You may not need to add this to your app and keep it simple. Under formula, I will type in if followed by the question equals to yes, then 1, else 0. Now click on Save. Let's see if this works. Go to App Home, click on Electrical Safety. You can see the score fields. If I select the response as yes, it shows 1. If I select no, it shows 0. Now I will implement the scoring mechanism for the remaining 2 questions. Based on these scores, you can calculate the overall percentage. So after all the fields in the checklist, I will click on Add Field and click on Calculations and Logic block again. For the label, I will change it to Overall Score. And for the formula, I will give the formula to calculate percentage, which is sum of all scores. So I called out all the score variables here separated by comma, divided by the number of questions into 100. Let's check this out. Click on Electrical Safety. We can see for every question there is a score field, given the responses, and you can see the overall percentage. Let me make a minor change, and you now get a different percentage. In this way, by checking the percentage of every checklist, you can check the overall efficiency and workings of your organization. To keep the app a bit more clean, you can keep the scores field hidden, as it is not necessary for the user to see it in the app. In the Design app, click on a score field, go to the Advanced option. We have the option Hidden. When you enable it, this field will not be visible in the app to the user. You can also do the same for other fields if you require. I will leave overall score as it is. Now in App Home, you can see the score fields are not visible in the app. When I give in the responses, the overall score still shows. Now what happens if you have too many questions in your checklist, and it can happen that the inspector might miss out in capturing a response for a particular question. So in that case, you can mark certain fields as required. or maybe all the fields as required. So for that, in the design app, if you click on a field, on the right hand panel at the bottom you can see there is an option that says required. So if you enable this option and click on save, you can see it is now denoted with a red star mark, which means that this is a required field to fill in, without which the inspector will not be able to make any submission. You can also do this for every other field if you require. So if it is for remarks or maybe for uploading image, you can enable this option. Now I'll go back to app home, click on electrical safety. You can see the two fields that I have marked as required are denoted with red star marks. If I were to simply click on submit, you can see the fields are now highlighted in red with the error message that says this field is required. So when the inspector is filling in the app, they will not be able to miss out in capturing responses for any question. Now I'll go ahead and fill in the details of this app. To make a submission, simply click on Submit. You can view all your submissions under the Submissions tab. You can click on any submission that you might have and a right-hand panel will appear, capturing all the details submitted by the inspector. You can also access the app that you created in the mobile app as well. All you have to do is download the Clappia app either on Play Store or App Store, and the moment you create or edit your app, you will be able to use it in the mobile app as well. So let's see how that looks like. Over here you can see the mobile screen with the Clappia app downloaded on it. So I'll go ahead and click on the app and then click on the inspections app that we've just created. You can see that the app is live and ready to use. The name, date, time and the GPS location have all been captured automatically by the system. As you can see over here, I was able to upload an image through the mobile's camera. Now I'll go ahead and click on submit to make a submission. Even in the mobile app, you will be able to view all your submissions, and you can also see the earlier submission that we made through the web. Click on any of the submission to view all the details. The mobile app can also be used in the offline mode as well, as I had mentioned earlier. So if you are in a remote area that has little to no internet connection, then you will still be able to capture responses and make submissions. All submissions will be saved in the back end, and when the inspector or the user comes back to an area that has internet connection, the submissions will be automatically uploaded to the system in the background. Now back in the web version, if I simply click on refresh, you can see the mobile submission over here as well. Now we've seen how to create the app structure or the app interface for the inspection checklist app. Let's see how to create PDF reports based on the responses captured. For this, we go to the design app. Step 1 is where we created the app interface. Now we go to step 2, which is configuration. Then we click on print settings. On the right hand panel, click on add print template, and you can have multiple templates for different checklists. So over here I will name this one as electrical safety. Click on the button over here and now you will be able to configure your PDF. Now I will give the layout for the electrical safety checklist. Now over here, for inspector name, date of inspection, time, these responses will already be captured in the app. So instead of manually typing them in over here, you can call out the variables from your app to capture the responses based on the submissions. So here I will type in @inspector name. Then for date of inspection, it will be @date of inspection. And so on. You can do this for all the questions in the checklist as well, along with the remarks or uploading any images. So let me go ahead and do that quickly. You can also add tables to your PDF. Now under the remarks section, you can see that there are multiple remarks variables. To know which variable corresponds to which question, you can always go to the design app, click on the checklist and check for the corresponding variables. I have now completed the layout for the electrical safety checklist along with all the corresponding variables. You can also enable headers and footers if you require, and you can also insert images or company logo. Now I'll click on save. For multiple checklists, you can keep clicking on add print template and configure the layout for those checklists. So I'll click on add print template, give the name hazard, click on the button here and give the layout for the hazard checklist. I have now configured the PDF for the hazard checklist as well. Now I'll save this. Now you can see I have two PDFs configured for one single app. Now I'll go to the Submissions tab and click on a submission. On the right hand panel, you can see the option for PDF. Once you click on it, it'll ask you which PDF you would like to view. To know which one to select, you can simply check which checklist the inspector has selected and then select the corresponding PDF for it. It will then take you to the print preview of the PDF, capturing all the responses. In this way, you can have dynamic printing of your checklist as well. If you would like to send email notification to relevant teams or managers for every inspection carried out, you can go to the Design app and then go to step 3, which is Workflows. Workflows is important for automating your business process flow into your apps. So if you want to send email notification for every submission made, you can simply click on Add Step and then select the email node. But now if you have multiple checklists, you can use the if node. Under the condition, I can type in @ select inspection type equals to electrical safety. Then send email notification to the relevant team. So over here, I can type in an email address. And just like a simple email, you can give subject and body. You can also attach the PDFs that you have configured. So by enabling this option here, you can select which PDF to send across. So since this is for electrical safety, I will select electrical safety. Or if you want to send certain attachments, you can do so as well. I'll save this. Similarly, I can add another if node for the hazard checklist. So here I will type in under condition @ select inspection type equals to hazard. And under the if node, another email node. Now under include configured PDF, I will select hazard. Now anytime a submission is made, if inspection is carried out for electrical safety, then it will trigger the workflow. It will check whether the selection is made for electrical safety or hazard, based on which it will send out the email notification to the email addresses that you have added. So let's see how that works. I'll make a submission first. I'll go to App Home. Now I'll check the submissions tab and you can see a new submission has been entered. This should also trigger the workflow, and since I have given my email address, I should be receiving it in my inbox. In my mailbox, you can see that I have received an email that says electrical safety checklist. You can also see the attachment has been sent across. So in this way, you can create your inspection checklist app and have multiple checklists under one single app. If you have any queries regarding the configuration of this particular app or any other feature in Clappia, you can always request support by clicking on the button over here, or you can email us directly to support@clappia.com and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.